This is the Bar Steward's Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
Hello, and a warm welcome to the Bar Steward's Enquiry Ledger Weekend Podcast. My name's Lee Keys, and joining me this evening is the same crack team that produced some nice winners this week. Yes, Nick Davis enjoyed Barradar as his big bet. That bolted in today at Doncaster, and also he followed that up with a lovely 10-1 winner on the Macro from Trapuya. Trained Maximus Caesar, a lovely double-figure price. And joining Nick also, as well as myself, is Jonas Lang and Jack, also to bolster the ranks for this weekend. Are we confident, chaps?
The rest of us are giving fuck all, haven't we?
We haven't really. I mean, all right, the big bet I did win, but fucking my other two run like fucking, yeah.
Oh,
there
yeah, sorry, 1,000 apologies. I was in the Premiership.
I wasn't going to. I was going to mention it because I fucking hate the trumpeting. Chris Poole will be after me if I start trumpeting too much. It's important to keep it on a level. Golf club, are you listening? Keep it on a level. Stop raging when you get a bad ride. We all rage, but stop raging and order more crispy beef. On to this weekend. It is, of course, the final classic of the season at Doncaster, and we're going to come on to the best bets round. This is the round where we give our best perks at the weekend's action. Now, yeah.
Best book I had was a primary school teacher at York in 1989.
I'm pleased you said. I am very pleased you said school teacher and not. That'd have been it. We'd have to cut.
She's still down in the set. Is she still down in the cellar?
No. She was a one-off, Nick. One-off.
Oh, right, okay.
Not very imaginative, but she was all right.
She escaped from the cellar.
Oysters, I think, John.
Mm-hmm.
Oysters. Loves his oysters. Enough of the small talk. Let's go on to the nitty-gritty. On to the 1 point round. Jack, coming to you first of all.
Yeah, so I'm off to Doncaster Lee 225, the Portland, and with the Richard Hannon Happy Romance here. Amazingly, it's this horse's first ever run in a handicap, and that's partly angle, to be honest with you. Obviously, she's been campaigned at group level since having a promising 2-year-old career. On the basis of her last couple of runs, you know, she's probably not at that level anymore if she ever was. Last effort was in the King's Stand, where she ran well down the field, but she has got a 5-furlong listed race win to her name earlier in the season. And for me, I think off a mark of 102 with the £5 claimer, he wouldn't be the best claimer in the world, Wojkanski, but there's certainly worse out there. So I wouldn't be negatively put off massively by him. And for me, it was like looking at the pace of the race, those drawn low, including the likes of Chipstead, the Fav, Call Me Ginger, they tend to need to be held up. And pace on my angle was looking at stalls 8, 9, 10, all confirmed front runners, 11 question mark, and then 12 and 13. So there's a lot of pace down the middle, and if she can kind of slot in behind those guys, I think she's got a decent chance. And hopefully that freshen up since Ascot will do her the world of good. She was entered in the Betfred Sprint Cup at the weekend, but was a reserve, so they obviously still think she's at that kind of, you know, group level, and I think she could make this mark look a little bit silly tomorrow. So yeah, the double figure odds, I was happy to go in with a 1 point win.
12-1 Paddy's and Betfair. And Jack, I'll swing it back round to me here. I'm going to go head to head with you, but I do respect your selection very much. And she was the one I was really looking at, thinking, God, I would love her to be a non-runner.
Probably will be, knowing me. I can't find a runner, let alone a winner.
You're on the right lines with her. She's very well in now as well. They've dropped her mark, and this. Like you say, first time handicaps, I was seriously looking at her. But of video evidence, Big Jim and Call Me Ginger. Because if you like Chipstead for the race, well, Chipstead for getting disqualified after scything it sideways last year. Chipstead's about £12 worse off with Call Me Ginger. Big Jim has brought this to the boil, and at Ascot, if you watch after the line, it's drawing further clear. I think this is in rude health. It goes brilliantly well for Amy Waugh, who would be the best amazing pilot, but it's what the horse goes for, and it certainly goes for her. So I thought 1 point win at 15-2. 8-1, Coral and Ladbrokes. 2 rule books have come out. There it is. 8-1, Coral and Ladbrokes. Yes. 1 point win, Call Me Ginger. So back mine and Jack's, because I think we're on the right lines there. I will be scared of Jack's, definitely at the prices. So yeah, Call Me Ginger for me, and Jack 12-1 Happy Romance. So yeah, we're good to go in the Portland, I think, on the back of that. Nick Davis.
Oh shit!
We got the trifecta.
Yeah, we're gonna have a trifecta.
Go on, then.
Chuck out 1 run. Kings Lynn at Doncaster. It's 1-1, 2-2-1. The 8th was a dream when he got hampered. He only really runs here at Doncaster and Haydock. It doesn't matter whether he lives places. He can he'll slot behind and come on through. It just is. If you look at Doncaster and Haydock, there's where the 4 runs is and 12 places. Apart from there, he doesn't run anywhere else. So 1 point win 10-1, is it?
Yeah. You can have 11s. That's
11s,
with
yeah.
Coral and Laddies. The reason I discounted Kings Lynn was not because he doesn't have a great chance. The ride that fucking Harry Davis gave this at Ascot was terrible. He got the stand side box, and I reckon that's why all the money was for him, Nick, that day at Ascot.
Yeah.
Because he got the stand side, and everyone's thinking, go stands rail then. No, what do? He switched middle, and he ended, an absolute moron. But this is what they do.
Murphy's back on him today, isn't he, for the first
Yeah,
time?
Murphy back on. And by the way, there'll be something on the sermon, Harry Davis, on Sunday. An absolute disgraceful decision from the BHA today, which we'll talk about on Sunday. That's not for this show. But yes, Kings Lynn for Nick. Yes, I agree, Nick. You make a very good case there. If he wasn't such a shithouse and owned by a former shithouse, I would be.
Yeah. They stick up Joggers. The service office is no good. He hasn't run well all season, and someone said it off.
Yep.
Well,
So
it's
11
actually in Balding's colours himself. So whoever really owns it, I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, it might be Meghan Merkel. You never know in this game.
You should enjoy racing then.
I don't know.
Well, she just fuck you to the Royals, isn't it? So that wins.
You see the one that's into pegging, they're saying on Twitter?
Peggy.
No, that's the other Megan. That's Nichols, John.
All right.
Hello, Meg, by the way, if you're listening.
Right, so we've given you the TriCast in the Portland. What more do you want on round 1? John, you can finish us off.
I'm going to Doncaster on Sunday.
Ooh.
Tomorrow's shit, isn't it, really? 4:45, the nursery. Monsieur Melly of Jed O'Keefe's. Hopefully, finally getting a run at a suitable track after not visiting a suitable track since debut. This one really caught the eye first time up, behind a friend of the show, Nelly Laylax.
Yes.
In a novice. And then Mr. O'Keefe, in his wisdom, took this long-striding, unfurnished horse to Ripon, of all places, to finish 5th behind Crepscoll, when he basically never handled a single one of them horrible undulations. I think he obviously has a bit of a downer on this horse, because he then sent him to Musselburgh. And to make things even harder, he stuck Paul Mulrennan on its back. Unsurprisingly, it missed the kick towards the rear. Made a little bit of late headway, but he was never getting there, for God's sake. Turned out he'd lost his left-hand shoe. 73 is very playable in the context of this. He's an Intello. I'm not too worried about the ground. I'm not all that worried about the opposition either, to be honest. I think he's the best handicapped horse in the race. 1 point win.
7-2 with Billy Mountains. Obviously, no other firms. So the 2 rule books will come out, John. and give you the best odds
Right.
possible. Would you have Betfair SP or do you want the best odds?
It's Jed O'Keefe. I'll have Betfair SP.
Good stuff, John. That's the 1 point round. Right, 2 pointer. Nick Davis.
Oh, yeah. 2 pointer. 2 pointer. Right, we're going to the 240 at Chester. This one hasn't really picked up its feet much since Chester in May on soft ground, but it gets some ease tomorrow. And it's got absolutely hammered last time on the home straight at Windsor. Dark Pine. He saves usually his best efforts were here. Last time here, I think he was here over 1 mile, 3.5. He just never got into it. It was held up. It was held up in some races like Beyond Cumulonimbus and Dream Harder and never got into it a couple of times. But showed a revival last time on ground that had been far too quick for it. If you look in between the 3 and the 2, it stumbled about 3 times and still finished only less than 4 lengths behind under Mr. Sheedy. Laura Pearson gets back on it. It's down to a mark of about 4 pounds there when it ran at Chester on soft ground behind City Streak on the 11th of May. 1 point each way, I think about 10 to 1.
It is 10 to 1. That's pretty generally available. Only 3 pegs, but nevertheless, it is a each way price. And Dark Pine, the enigma all season, really, that's been tipped up on this show a few times and just either drifted bad or not shown anything. And then, like you said, this horse is very, very capable of this Mark Nick. So I wish you well with that at 10 to 1 each way. John?
Right, 2 points round 4:45 Doncaster. This is the second time out called Red Hot Whisper in Maiden. Now this one really, really caught my eye on debut at Leicester. So I'm going to be a Leicester investor. It was very green, but what I liked most about this horse was the fact that he really uses himself and makes a terrific shape. Very, very similar of the Sire, actually. When the Sire was running it, he really has stamped this colt. Cost enough for a Brookhouse flat project, I thought. I think it was 100 and odd. In the context of this race, I think he's well overpriced. I'd have had him about 5 to 2 against this lot.
Wow.
You got the kilt in here at bloody 9 to 4. We know what's going to happen with that. Like everything else he runs at fucking Doncaster. So, I mean, the Gosden first time out might be a bit leery, you know. I mean, you don't know what you're running until there. But, I mean, it's only Caton Park stood on that. You're not expecting the world beater, are you? So,
is that the colours that haven't we had done?
They probably do have them with their Dunlop, the sound of it stupid, don't they? I mean, the Carl Burke horse doesn't look all that fancied, judging by the early prices that's going up. The Valmont horse is a Rafe and Ralph reject, isn't it? It's gone to Paul and Oliver. So, I mean, there's plenty to recommend this. I mean, they're not going to be messing about looking for nurseries, are they, when they've paid what they've paid?
No.
And they could have stayed at the back in the Leicester Maiden, but he's run on rather nicely, I thought. I think there's plenty going for him. I think he's an absolute each way bet 10 out at 7 to 1.
Are you going each way?
Yes.
1 each way is 7 to 1 for John. Red Hot Whisper and the 4:45 at Donny. I'm pretty sure Jack will be all over at Vermeer in that, the newcomer of Jane Chapel-Lyons, his favourite, with 80 Marlborough on board and his teeth smiling away. Jack will be looking at that.
I did have a long, good look at that pedigree, but and I liked it, and I considered it.
You just love that team. You absolutely love it.
Stamps to pack that one. That's a Queen's Razors for next year.
Yeah, looked proper stay, didn't it? But yeah.
Right, Jack, continue the 2 pointers then.
Yeah, so it's not Jane Chapel home train, this one. So 2 pointer, 3 o'clock Doncaster Park Stakes, and I am with the Andrew Balding trained Sandrine here. I think for me, the main angle is that the Fab's far too short. I think that's been priced on it being a lot softer than it is. I think people have bet that all week thinking it's going to be proper soft stuff. I know it still was soft today, but no more rain again tonight, none scheduled for tomorrow. So it's going to dry out. And I think as well, that second that he's been priced up on in the world's worst group. Well, I'm about to talk about a very shit Group 1 a bit later, but an even shitter one, the Maurice de Geest, where he came a short head second. I mean, that could have been a listed race, to be honest. So I'm against him, and for me, Sandrine, I think, has come back to life. I think the first time Visor last time out did the trick when finishing a length behind Kinross. And she does face audience again, but I think she was a little bit disadvantaged by trying to make headway up the far rail that day, where I think some of the slowest ground was. So I could see her overturning that form, and I just don't think there's a whole lot in here really. I think this is, Biggles is the one that's totally the wrong price. I think for me he's a handicapper, so I couldn't have him as second fav, and for me Sandrine would definitely be kind of solid second fav at about 11 or 4, 3 to 1. So at the kind of general fours, I made that very much a bet.
Well, stuff 9 to 2 for you with Unibet and Port Vale as well as a Brucey for your 2 win. We'll discuss that race in more detail later. So thank you for that, Jack. I'll complete the round with going to the St. Ledger. And I was quite shocked. Well, it's collapsing, isn't it? But I was quite shocked at the price of Continuous. Not as shocked now. Was 7 to 2, was 130. Now 3 to 1 generally available. I would have put this in around 2 to 1 favourite. Ryan Moore's obviously picked it. Me and John watched the Voltager at York with great interest. We were there, and we both felt this horse was struggling to go the early gallop set by Gregory, but we think that was more down to the quick ground. And I thought he was struggling on it. And he's sign of a good horse, really, that still comes there rolling through. Gregory was ridden wrong that day. We accept that. But Continuous has got a lot of staying power, and I think he's going to enjoy conditions very much so. I don't think it's going to be like Jack says. It's not going to be as soft as what it has been the last 2 days. I think it'll probably ride just with a little bit of ease on the side of good, which would be perfect for this horse, really. Arrest needs it like a bog. Desert Hero, he's very tough, but I don't think he has the class to win the race. Money for Tower of London, one of my fancies. But if you look at that, if Ryan hadn't dropped his whip in the Bahrain Trophy, Ryan might have just got up and beat a Godolphin horse. Well, Continuous slammed the Bahrain Trophy winner by nearly 4 lengths, and if they'd have gone another 2 furlongs, it'd have won by 44 lengths. So nothing not to like about Continuous. I'm surprised they put it as big as they did. We felt on the Ledger preview show that they probably would have run. Well, we're sort of surprised that they're running. But I think that the fact that they are, I know you'll say, well, they're running 4, but I just can't have it at this price. It's got to be about a 9 or 4, 2 to 1 perk for me. That's how I look at it. So Continuous, 2 points win, 3 to 1 generally available for me. Right, max bet round time. We love max bets. John, I'm coming to you for a max bet.
Max bet time, nice and boring. For all the reasons you've just stated, Continuous in the Ledger.
Yes, Klaxon. Asthmatic horse. We love it. Yeah. Do you agree, John, that this will be...
Yeah. I mean, for me, he's got a rest to beat, and I don't think it's going to be soft enough for a rest. I'd be a little bit worried about the rest getting keen on him anyway, so I just think this horse showed a tremendous attitude at York. I liked everything he did. I think 130 is very reasonable.
Well, 3 to 1 for you. And me. He's collapsing. Malcolm Marshall's at one end and Michael Holding's at other, and that's what's happening to the price of this. This will probably go off about 13.08 tomorrow. But yeah, I can see a big punt in the Ledger, and it will be Continuous. I think it's the only one you can seriously back. There is, like I said, there is money for Tower of London, but I do feel that I just don't think that's in the class of Continuous. I think Tower of London run a big race, but maybe not to win. Thank you for that, John. Right, I'll come to you, Jack, for your max.
Right, my Max, you're going to have to hang on for a bit tomorrow for mine. It's a bit left field in terms of track selection. We're off to the home of Quentin Franks, Canada, and the
Yes.
1042 at Woodbine. It's a boring selection though, but it doesn't matter if it wins, and I think this will. So very, very, very much with the favourite here, Master of the Seas. I think this is a terrible looking Grade 1, to be honest with you. I mean, the only danger I could see, I mean, War Bomber, that's pretty much only races at Woodbine that's only managed to win twice in lesser company, ridden by Theo Walcott by the looks of it. So I'm not worried about him. And then Shell Spates. I mean that does have a bit of back class. That was second in last year's Breeders' Cup Mile, but only one appearance this season, was beaten by War Bomber. I guess might have needed the run, but you know, I just think Master of the Seas is the class horse here. And he won that summer mile at Ascot pretty well when they went to front running tactics. I could see them adopting those again tomorrow. And I just think Charlie Appleby tends to be a great placer of his horses in North America. I think last few years he's 4 for 6 at Woodbine. He'll use this as a stepping stone to the Breeders' Cup Mile, which I think this horse, you know, could well go close in. He's got good form internationally. You know, he's ran well at Meydan, and he was withdrawn that time when he hit his head on the stalls in the Breeders' Cup. But I think he'll be primed for this, and I made him probably a 1 to 2 shot. So I think the 10 to 11 available is very much value. So 3 points win, please, Lee.
10 to 11 with Entain, Coral and Ladbrokes. Complete Rick Jack says, and I'm going to join him with a second klaxon. This is like Big Daddy and Finley tag team. Yes, this is it. It's ITV World of Sport. Bang, get in there. In comes Big Daddy now. with his belly flop. It's Master of the Seas all the way. 3 points on the nose. Same reason as Jack said. I got this 2 to 5. The reason being that although Shirl Spate was second in last year's Breeders' Cup Mile on the turf, not really showed a deal since that. And it's 6 now. I don't think that's a serious threat. I just don't think there's any opposition here. This is Will Buick that's flown over to Woodbine, and he's flying back for Sunday at Doncaster. The lad can't get enough. So yeah, there we go. That's the 3 points of Master of the Seas at 10 to 11. I make no shame of tipping short prices. If I think the 2 to 5, this should be 2 to 5. Simple as 2 to 5. We'll go off 2 to 5 on their bent Canadian tote. Nick Davis.
Right then, we're going back to the 3 o'clock at Doncaster. I want to be against Spycatcher. I don't think he's good as a 7 furlongs. He is quite shorter. He's 1 from 9, and the 7 furlong victory first this year, he got £7 off Mount Alpha Escobar. To me, they've not helped him. Yes, he's been consistent at that thing, but I want a Dutch too. I want to have 1.5 points each because I think audience needs it faster on Biggles and Sandrine.
Split stakes.
Split stakes, yeah. Because that to me that's laying Spycatcher at 4 to 6. I don't think any other 3 will win. Biggles was in front of Skycatcher and only £3 worse off in the Victoria Cup. So I think it's well up to it. And Sandrine for the things that Jack said. So to me, it's laying Spycatcher odds on that 1.5.
4 to 1 Biggles, 9 to 2 Sandrine. That's another half klaxon, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we've literally got 2.5 klaxons. I mean, this is
the asthmatic horse only breathing out.
Oh, we miss Nevender. We should have a poll. Should we get Nevender back on the show for the winter? Let us know. Do you all miss old Nev and his old asthmatic course and his bad tips?
Only if he tells us when his horses are going to fucking win. Pointless otherwise.
I know he's a twat like that. He is. He's a bastard. Yeah, he is. He is. But he's a lovely fellow, is Nev, and we'll see if we can get him back on some shows this winter for the twig hopping. Right, on to the TV action then, folks, where we've done the best bets rounds. Hopefully you will find Solstice in some of our selections with 2.5 klaxons there on the best bet round. So it could be an interesting Saturday for us. Can we pummel on? And don't forget, if one loses, have more on the next one. Bet responsibly and have more on. Let's go Chester first. Obviously, 2 races there. There's not much TV action this weekend. The 205 race is the Tote Stand Cup. Blue Stocking is the obvious one. The only thing, I mean, I would say she's a certainty if she runs a race, but you just tend to worry with fillies. You know, could John? I'll come to you first. Do you think she could have just left her running, maybe like in other races this year?
The Yorkshire Oaks was a hard race.
Yeah, definitely was.
I think, this is me second guessing, but I think that race was so tough. I think it's left a bit of a mark on Sale of the Last Dance, and that's why they're not running the Ledger.
That's interesting.
And
do you know what?
It was a really fast time there. I mean, it was a brutal race, wasn't it?
Well, Ryan set mental fractions.
Yeah. And the other interesting thing, John, is if you own blue stocking yourself and it weren't Juddmonte or anything else, or it weren't down to Ralph to decide what was going to happen, I don't think you'd be running for 33 grand at winner in this.
No.
I think you'd say, well, what's fucking point? You know, it's not like, well, does she need black tie? No. She's second in an Irish Oaks. She's third in a Group 2. She was fourth in Yorkshire Oaks. If she wins this, it doesn't enhance stud prospects and does earn a need 33,000 quid.
I'd have kept her for maybe Ascot Champions Day.
I'm very surprised she's here. I'll be honest. When I saw the decks, I'm thinking, they're just having a look, but. And it is a weak race. I think that's why they're tempted, because they've looked at the race and thought, well, yeah, she should bolt up. And I agree on the numbers and on everything she's done, she should bolt up. But I'm not a fan of running fillies back that quick. I mean, we saw it happen today with Coltrane in the Lonsdale. Coltrane, Coltrane's done now. He's had it. He left all his form there at York, ran his shit today at Doncaster.
Did the top get the run? I know it probably needs further. The top could get the run of the race here on soft ground, couldn't it? On good soft. Yeah,
it could do. The rating is sort of flattered. I don't know how they've come to 112 for this. I mean, this is like, that's bonkers as a rating for me. I don't know how they've got 112 for that. There's no way he's 112. So that's how I see that. Jack?
Yeah, I think there's license to get this one wrong, I think, blue stock. And I was listening to Beckett pre-York, actually, and he was saying he was half debating going for the Gowtries. I think they're just desperate to get a win into her. As you said, though, Lee, not that it really kind of enhances anything. And, yeah, would you really want to trust her after York round here at 8 to 11? I'd give it a pass myself.
I think that's it. You needed to run a race, and none of us four, I don't think, are bouncing in terms of her running a race. We're not saying, look, she could win 4 lengths on the Billy Idol, and everyone will say, well, what are you fucking on about? You have to be, like, look at Coltrane today. Coltrane backers are left in the Speedos, and the tide's gone out after basically a York race that was brilliant from Coltrane, and it's just that's it. It's done. It wasn't ready to come back out this soon. So you have to be wary of that this time of year. This filly has, been kept on the go a while and has run in some big races. And like Nick's pointed out, John's pointed out about the severity of the Yorkshire Oaks in terms of fraction set. It might be just one to just watch her away. You don't need to play on that, is our opinion. 240 then is the Camden Hells Handicap. Barishnikov in Sweet Reward. Head the market at 5-1 joint. Nick has pointed out Dark Pine in his best bets round, and that looks very well in now off 86. But then again, so did Dead Mirage today, and that was deader than a deady thing. So it can happen. That's how it is. But what's our thoughts on this, chaps?
I think the draw's very favourable for Barishnikov. I always think it's significant at Chester when these like what I call the 3 benders. Right. When there's one particular jockey got an inside draw, and he's maybe surrounded by the equivalent of 3 benders, and I think that's the case with Ben Curtis. To be honest, I think him in the toolbox, he can more or less do as he likes, because Muscat's not what I'd call a positive jockey. He'd tend to go backwards rather than forwards. Dave Nolan's an idiot. Much as I respect Nick's opinion on the horse, I'm not over enamoured with Laura Pearson. Sam James in the fives. I think Ben Curtis is just going to be able to plonk this thing where he wants. and have a lovely sit round.
Well, he's sort of ready to win off this mark for sure. But
Yeah.
I mean, God, talk about the nearly man, the low measure.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, he had two lovely wins started last year, and you thought, well, this is a nice horse, and then since then he's always. But he has some top class form, really. You know, like you look back, he's very capable of this mark, very well in. From a good draw, you think, how can this not go close tomorrow? Could be one for place only, Wallace.
Well, I was going to say, in the place markets, if you got 5 to 4 a place, I mean, how much would you have on? You'd open your sister up to all comers tomorrow night.
I love that analogy, and that's my opinion also. Jack, your view on this?
Yeah, if I had a sister, I think I'd be with John there. I agree. He obviously operates well
There
rounded.
must be a lass you're friendly with, Jack, that you're not all that bothered about morally.
Yeah, that's true. I could put in a few calls, couldn't I? Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I think he's most likely winner. Conditions should suit. So I wouldn't be in a massive rush to take him on. But if I was Dutch in it, I can understand Nick's case for Dark Pine if he shows a bit more like his best form. So yeah, they'd be the two for me.
Good stuff. 150 Doncaster. What terrible races we've got tomorrow. I mean, so uncompetitive fares. Rosalian.
You can't stretch this to Sunday, can you? The dirty bath.
Right.
Yeah.
So coming on to Sunday, right? Like, so they've not televised it, but then I suppose they never televised Wednesdays, did they, John?
No.
So like, it don't really. But then I looked at Sunday's card, and you've got a Group 3 and a listed race. So wouldn't you switch the Group 3 and the listed race into the televised card somewhere along the line? And like Nick says, he didn't like the first day because it was full of fucking nursery handicap, and shove the handicaps onto the Sunday.
Or just don't have 4 days because it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually no, but right. The one thing that's pissed me off about this year, John, is the fucking maiden. Charlie Hill's always targets one. He's three.
Yeah.
The 2-year-olds. Charlie Hill's always targeted Doncaster maiden. He was like training as a creature's rabbit, and now I will not know what that fucking horse is. Last year was Bedorgan. I think the year before was an 100 rated horse. It's a phenomenal record. But old Charlie Hills, we don't get to find out what his next year's machine is. So I'm disappointed that the maiden's been scrapped. And
It's saved us having our biannual Charlie Hills bet, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's not all bad, I suppose.
Yeah.
Right, so Rosalian then now a 2 to 5. This is absolutely hammered. Can Iberian beat it? I don't think so.
We have to get this beat, Lee. I mean, that race at Ascot was shunk.
And
There was something wrong with that race.
Yeah, and for me, John, I know we spoke about him and you wanted him in the Flying Childers, but do we not think Sunway is overpriced? And if you just forgave that as just a block,
I wanted him in the
sorry, not the Childers. I mean the other one, don't I?
Right,
Yeah. I mean, could we forgive that? And if so, could 16
he's
look a bit
forgiven
silly?
it, hasn't he? The big
Yeah,
the
he's
big
put the
man
tongue
has
tie
said,
on as well.
let's stick with the programme and go Group 2 or whatever the hell this is.
Well, the interesting thing with your assertions, John, is that what price would Rosalian be if he came straight here from the new Maiden?
Yeah.
He beat Big Bertie Bassett by a length and a half. That got tailed, 9th off 82 in a nursery. The third horse was There's No Limit. That's now rated 75. Wantarina, the Cuban 1500 metre runner.
Shorty's class.
Yeah. That got tailed off 77.
Eddie
third
Freeman
in a
got that in, by the way, yesterday.
Did he?
Yeah, when they were down at the start of Epsom, he said, I wonder if he'll open his legs and show his class.
Wantarina. I know, one for the older brigade there. Jack's thinking, what are these cunts on about?
I think that all the time.
Yeah. Steve Ovett. Well, it's before Steve Ovett and Sebka. Anyway.
No, Steve Ovett was last in that.
Was it?
Yeah. That was his first Olympics, 76.
Yeah, Wantarina. Carlos Wantarina. So that's a good case, because then you're basically going on one run where we could be dealing with chariot form.
It was funny at Ascot that day. I mean, good ground. There were 4.5 seconds, I think, slow. They were strung out like fucking washing. I think there's kart track form, there's all sorts of form. The big Frenchman stuck a tongue tie on. He's sticking with the programme, and if this gets beat, he can fuck off to Marseille, and I'll drive him to the airport.
Are you pissed off with Menzies, John?
No.
I mean, the thing is, could he have not ran in the Scotsman?
Well, of course he could. He was a bet, wasn't he?
Yeah. Might not beat Roger Teals where that's won today.
Roger Teals had out to beat. They all collapsed, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know, they were terrible. I mean, Owen's horse was greener than it was on debut. I don't know what he's done to it. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's gone backwards.
Yeah. So it's an interesting case about Rosalien because, like you said, that Ascot, you take the Ascot run out of it, the debut run, he'd be priced about 6-1 to win this. 7-1.
Everybody's thinking that Ascot race is concrete. And let's be fair, the time tells you it was iffy. Hammond is another factor. That tells you it's probably a bit iffy. Well, and, you know, you've got Aidan O'Brien there at 12-1. You've got the big Frenchman at 16s. Come on, what more do you need?
Yeah, and I think that sounds a bit stupid, but I just think it was a weird old race, and it just had some nice horses in it who didn't run their race. And if you put Someway down as one of them, you know, 2-5 versus 16s, only one of them's the bet, isn't it?
Well, you'll get some idiots on Twitter tomorrow saying that this must be a machine because it's beaten Dancing Gemini by 15 lengths.
Dancing Gemini absolutely tanked in that race. I tipped Dancing Gemini that day, and it absolutely tanked. Forget that one. For starters, this is never a tilt to 5 o'clock. I don't care what they say. No,
the Ascot ground alert. I mean, Ascot now is becoming it's the Haydock of the South, isn't it? You know, when Kirkland was in full flow.
Yeah. You know, we've took nothing from Ascot this year, haven't we, really?
No, we've said to avoid it, yeah. Nick, anything to add?
I think you're right.
No. 2:25. It's the Portland. Well, I got me, Jack, and Nick have tips in it. So, John, the dance floor is yours.
Yeah, fuck the Portland.
You're just upset because Anthony's not put Mondomedge in.
I'm disgusted. I can't believe it. That's 2 years on the spin. He's missed the Portland.
Yeah. No, it's a disgrace. You know, you need to, John. We need to go down and have words with him, don't we?
Maybe go down and do something. Maybe set fire first.
3 o'clock Doncaster, the park.
I was going to say save the billiard round, but he scrapped that.
Has he really? Right, 3 o'clock Doncaster, the park. Spycatcher is half-arm Fav, which has also been opposed heavily by Jack and Nick in terms of how to play the race. Obviously, Sandrine is a popular choice spot from Jack and Nick, of course, for the half klaxon. And, of course, the Dutch bet from Nick with Biggles. John, views here?
Fucking pogo's running, isn't it?
Let's jump for joy.
Looks dead that this year, doesn't it?
A poor pogo.
Worst in on official figures, fucking Biggles. That's probably the one I'd want to be with, actually. I think you can forgive the last run because he just seemed to go a bit mental. And,
well, yeah, he was on the wrong side as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, he never dropped it at all for Ryan, which is unusual. I think, I don't know, maybe it come a bit soon off the back of that big effort at Newmarket, but he can run better than that, I know. I don't think he'll need to hit 111, 112 out like that to win this, really, because I can't have Spycatcher hitting 110 over this sort of distance. I think 107 will probably win it. I think Biggles, given the Bunbury Cup run, and I think that's a very sporting poke against Spycatcher. The rest of them are fucking lunatic horses, aren't they, really? So I'll leave them out.
Thank you for that, John. Okay, I do have a strong view. I agree with people with stronger opinions than myself on the race, which are Nick, Jack, and John. Right, we move on to the three.
Of you there.
Yeah, honestly, I have no clue on that. I looked at it and went, fucking hell. A mess, a big fucking mess. 3:35 Doncaster, of course, is the final classic of the season. And me and John have puffed our chests out, walking down the street, big chesty people. And we've said Continuous will win the St. Leger tomorrow. How do Jack Veach and Nick Davies sit on the St. Leger? Jack, you first.
Yeah, so we spoke about it the other day, didn't we? And since then, Middle Earth has edged out a couple more points. So I'm interested there. I think all the hoo-ha with who's Frankie riding, who's he not, I think we've all just been caught up in that. And, I think he would prefer slightly better ground, but he's got a good to soft wind to his name. It's not going to be much worse than that tomorrow. I think he might piss on a few people's chips, certainly in the Gosden camp anyway. But yeah, I'd be sort of siding with him, and I'd get your shout for Continuous too. The one I couldn't have is Arrest, and I think Frankie's picked the wrong mount, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Possibly coked up, Nick.
I mean, I agree with you.
You mean Nick or Frankie?
Both.
The way you handed over there, possibly coked up, Nick.
Yeah, it's the real thing. Yeah. Actually, I mean, if you look at the sectionals, I think they run on about the same ground. If you look at Continuous and Middle Earth sectionals, if it's fast ground, I'd definitely be in Middle Earth. He's a faster horse. If you look at the sectionals on there, I know they went a bit of a gap on there, but the fastest 3 furlongs Middle Earth did versus Continuous, I think he's about half a second faster. So he's got the toe and he stays a distance. It's just the ground that's just putting me off a little bit, but I wouldn't write him off. I'd if you back Continuous, I'd save on Middle Earth. It won't cost you a lot at 11 and 12 to 1 now.
Very good advice, Nick, indeed. Yeah, and of course,
Denmark will do.
It'll probably travel like Wrath of God and then fucking wipe out half a field like Kingpin.
He's a sort of horse who gets another one beat, isn't he, tomorrow? He fucking loves it.
He could be there to take one out, couldn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, get rid of Frankie and Skid Mark, and then Continuous loop up the middle.
Skid Mark.
Well, John, this is like the old Coolmore Mafia race, isn't it? This is
Irish Derby time with Tartan Bearer. Yeah.
You know, this is the one where you fuck some contenders by running some shit, and they've certainly got 2 horses that can't win this. Sean Levy and Daniel Tudor might be instructed to do some damage.
Look at it now. It's getting a bit like the Oaks. I mean, you look at the stables, O'Brien versus Gosden with 2 other runners. Isn't it? You've got 4 Gosden, 3 O'Brien.
Right. Okay. We've summed up tomorrow in perfect terms. We've got 2.5 Claxons. Our listeners are hopefully in clover this weekend, like this week. And have we any other business for this weekend? Have we anything on the Sunday at Doncaster? Anything that you've got marks out?
And outside one on Sunday is got back on soft ground. It's got one of his Divas Boy. They tried him over 1 mile 3 last time, and about 2 runs back, he was awfully unlucky at Chester. He might be just a Chester Ponce, but on soft ground in the Legends race, he might be a price if anyone. He might be a 14, 16 to 1 shot if anyone is interested in that. William Kennedy, how long has he been retired?
Well, that's it. I honestly don't know what. Oh, Megan Nichols in a Legends race, John.
She's a legend.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm just looking at the angry. Look at this. The angry ant Gary Bardwell is riding for Nevender.
Stop it.
What?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
Yeah, Vondel Park. Yeah, no. The angry ant. for Nevenda on Sunday in the Legends race.
Imagine them having a look after the race.
Is it like what do you call it? Numbers out of a hat job, or do they actually choose who they want? Do you know?
Look how bent this is. Fucking Paul.
Jack, I think you can book your legend. I think you can. I think Coo did it once with Gay Kellaway, and she fucked up on one of his that should have won the Legends race.
So Hannigan, who retired about 2 weeks ago, is on a 12-1 poke here.
Yeah, it's with John Wayne, so forget it.
Yeah.
Jamie Osborne is riding for Jamie Osborne. How does that work?
He's the only one that give him a fucking ride.
Do we right? Have you three? Have you seen the original Total Recall with Schwarzenegger? Not the modern one. But
Yeah.
Have you seen it? Yeah. Do you think Gary Bardwell looks like Tony?
The brain head fucker.
Yeah.
It's a fair shout.
He did your favourite Gary Bardwell in 1987 when Not So Silly won the Air Gold Cup.
Yeah.
Chris Paul, won't you hear him?
Yeah, that's a proper Chris Paul, that.
Yeah,
Nice.
It is. I know we've had some Chris Pauls off you, Nick. It's terrible. Some trumpets and some fanfares. I know.
When you say, did you refer him, Nick? Did he ring the trainer and say he couldn't make the weight to get somebody else?
That was a year. Oh yeah, Chris Paul will be on. Hello, Chris. How are you? I've got more hair than you, just about.
Decky Johnson. He's the one at 10-1 on Dandy Maestro. There's no hurdles for him to deck him. I mean, he'd have been a brilliant flat jockey if he could make 11 stone.
I'm a bit sorry for Megan. She's on reserve, isn't she?
Yeah.
What an afterthought.
It's terrible, really. Matty Bachelor. It's gone downhill.
Stand by.
It's gone downhill since Mick Kinane won it. Anyway, we're having to deal with some right idiots riding in the Legends race. But there we go. So, any other business chaps? That's all?
Not unless Scobie Graisley's on one in this.
That's it. We've lined your pockets for this weekend. We're confident of it. So don't come back to us if we don't. But if we do, shower us with silver. That's all from us. Bye for now.